Oh, the feeling of sniping Quinn's stream. Hey, don't worry. Quinn's VODs are saved, guys. Quinn, I was trying to figure it out. 7-12 every day. You've put me in a bind. I start streaming at 7 or 8 every day, so we are in quite the mess. Oh. Stash is extra trucker, sorry. Look like a unicorn, thank you. I don't care at all. What do you think of traders this year? Oh, Peyton, you're starting to start some shit, eh? You don't just ask questions like that, inflammatory shit to start the stream. Here's what I'll say. I'm lucky that my fan base, my followers, my haters even, are just kind of reality TV focused. Because if they were like more theater focused, they would actually murder me for my opinion of Cabaret, which was terrible. Anyways. Please fix the hair coming out of the hat. No, I need that hair there. Otherwise, it looks like I have a really bad hairline, which I do, but I don't want to admit that through my, whatever, image. Literally just watching the pod. Olivia. It's the live show now. The pod will be there after. Cory, can you go bald? Just for you, Steel Cage, over the next 10 years, I will progressively go bald. Josie and the Pussycats? Isn't that Riverdale? Right? Just listening to Bubblegum Bitch, that's crazy. Quinn, there's nothing less crazy than you listening to Bubblegum Bitch. That is the most predictable thing. And I love it. It was a great song. Can we believe Quinn started a podcast and said, Cory, no invitation? Not his first guest. Fully on the record, full disclosure, still haven't received an invite. Kind of crazy. It's way before Riverdale, but yeah, it's from Archie Comics. Okay. Quinn, did Cory respond to your text yet? I initially responded very quickly, and then he sent a voice memo, and I was like, Might be working through the BB26 cast first. Here's what I'll say. My podcast, working through the BB25 cast, will be electric. All right, anyways, that's it for music. Who do you guys want as the first guest for the BB25 podcast? Any good suggestions? Anyone in BB25 been in the news recently? He made a whole edit of you. You guys think Matt Klotz would be good? Nice to see your first stream of the year here. Allison Grodner, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope the Joe Schmo show is going well. But yeah, no, look, you don't have to put up like a front, Allison. I know you're just here for the drama, for the hot tea, for the rumors. And you'll get them, don't worry. We went Heisem, and it's you defending my honor. Quinn, I'm going to be dead ass with you. If I had a podcast with Heisem, I've got enough problems of my own. You think you're coming up? Yeah, Heisem, the way you were psychoanalyzing my friend, I don't give a shit. We had a whole racial episode in the house I have to work through. The way you talked about the snoots, Heisem, that's not the problem. There's levels to this. So, Heisem would be great. Mimi would be great too, but I'm not starting a podcast, or another one at least. You and Heisem psychoanalyze Quinn together and invite Quinn so he can just witness. Yeah, it was like when Quinn and Joseph, it was like peak talking about deep dives in the house, and I was telling Taryn, I'm like, you should do a deep dive with both of them in the same call. Like, that would be like peak content. Let me zoom through the subs. Let me zoom. Corin, thank you for the 14 months. Chiara, good to see you. Corin, Lakers, kind of mid. Jerry, Thanks for the 14. Kate, 14. Brenna with the 13. Brenna's got some crazy theories on Twitter. Lexi with the year. Congrats on the piss hat. Gina, your 13 months. Allie, 14. Heather Lynn with the 14. Katie, Dee Dee. Under breast sweat. Crazy that I've had to read under breast sweat 12 times in the past year, but you got me there. Rune Queen. Oh my God, Rune Queen. Selfish ass. Getting yourself a sub instead of gifting. How dare you? Ari for the 2 months in a row. Ari, you're on a 2-month streak. The fuck happened? Who do you use them on? Who do you use your primes on? Was it Cam? I think it was Cam. Tom for the 13. Jennifer for the 13. And McCore, congrats on the piss hat. You're a year subscriber. Yeah, congrats on the piss hat, Ari. What's up, Heisem? I have played a little bit of Peggle. A little bit. When are we getting for real podcast? Wants a movie? We haven't seen movies, unfortunately. We've been hard slacking. I'm trying to think of the last movie we even saw. I mean, we saw... Is there a musical version of For Real we could do where I can complain about Cabaret? New York changed me. Thanks, Mom, for the 13 months. How are you doing? I'm sure my mom disapproves of the hair more than just about anyone here. So, you know, there's been some of the big picture rumors, the small picture rumors, the batshit I'm crazy rumors. I think my favorite tweet was the Cory flew towards a natural disaster to not spend time with America, which was insane, but kind of funny. Why didn't you like Cabaret? I think it was their commentary was very dated and clunky, and I think it might be a more enjoyable viewing experience as a non-Jewish person. As a Jewish person, it was pissing me off a little bit. So when are you filming the challenge? Well, we're going to talk about it because there's been some controversy online. And some people who theoretically are not on, some people who theoretically are on. There's a Reddit thread that was pissing me off. This is a classic. I'm going to rant, and then we're going to do a Q&A. Every question I don't answer, I'm gifting a sub. That's the plan for today. So it's a big return to form for Cory yapping fans. So congrats, y'all. It's a big Cory talking at the camera stream. Alan Cummings and Emma Stone. Look, the performers were good. It wasn't even Adam Lambert. It was like the understudy, and then it was Ollie Carvalho, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her first name. But she was incredible. And none of it will be clipped? Never. Never, Tom. Never. So, yeah, I thought Cabaret was bad. That doesn't matter. We're back from New York. I got back to the apartment maybe 25 minutes ago. And I've been antsy to stream. It's been so long. This is the longest break I've taken ever. And I'm done. I'm streaming daily now, at least for a while. I feel amped up. There's shit I want to talk about, shit I want to do. And I'm pretty pumped about it. Sad you miss Adam Lambert. He's amazing in the role. I'm sure he is, but the replacement MC was great too. They're doing a U.S. version of The Genius. That is Cory's game for sure. Darned contracts. Do you think Riley's podcast will come out after 41? I think what she should do is film the first episode right before she theoretically leaves for something. And then is able to, like, it's like a time capsule, you know? Did you finish the Legos? Yeah, of course. Everyone in the airport was gathered around me cheering. It actually turned into a live podcast. A lot of Corsaurs in there. It's kind of crazy. I've never seen so much challenge speculation in my entire life. Well, I will say, Ned, I don't know how invested you were in the Big Brother fan base in terms of, like, Stan Twitter and shit. So your algorithm is just probably extra cracked right now. So what did you go to LA for? Brenna, I saw the fires and I said, someone's got to do something about this. But it was a little bit more than I could have managed myself. It was quite a bit bigger than I anticipated. You guys know the Mark Wahlberg 9/11 quote? That was the reference. Had me checking that toxic forum like it was my job. I don't even know which forum you're referring to. We can dive into the everything. By the way, I'll send the Q&A link right now. The way that's going to work is at the end of stream, we're going to do a Q&A. So any questions you have for me, please, if I refuse to answer a question, I'll gift a sub. Obviously, there's some I won't answer and I won't gift a sub if I deem it illegal for me to answer or inappropriate as a question. So just keep that in mind. So let's just pin this and then I'll start yapping about everything else going on in the world. So I think it's about time that that we deal with the allegations, okay? I think it's about time to confront it head on and give a definitive answer. So obviously there's been rumors about America being on the challenge, me being on the challenge, the two of us being on the challenge. This tweet came out. We are doomed so far, me and America. GamerVev, one of the lead spoiler accounts of the challenge, probably the most prominent spoiler account, kind of their spoiler girl, not as bad, but not much better, made the declaration that she's confident, or he's confident, not sure. I know the profile picture is Frank, so it's not really playing into my calculation. Confident that neither made it on the final cast, and I'm very comfortable at this stage, coming clean, admitting that I can confirm Bailey and Anthony Smith will be on the challenge. I can confirm, beyond reasonable doubt. And I know it's unlike me to be so forthcoming with this kind of information, but I think it's my responsibility to my audience, to my community, to, again, be forthcoming with this information. So to anyone who's here just for the drama, for the clickbait, there you go. Smith Riders, we up. I'm personally very excited. And again, like I hate the secrets, the lies, the behind closed door stuff. And if I in any way can kind of remove that veil, I'm very happy and eager to do so. So that's what I have to say about that. And let's talk about this, because I thought this is funny. So 3 people that are semi-confirmed. Confirmed, I'm not even going to throw the word confirmed in the fucking world. Theoretically, potentially more likely than others, based on, GamerVev's tweets. Now, we have Matt Klotz, who it kind of seemed like this was always going to happen. I will say that I think Matt, so of the 3 of them, I think 2 of them are kind of mind-blowing choices in the sense of, like, they're the most conflict, drama-averse people you could ever choose from the past 2 seasons. I think Matt, because he's, like, a bad person, has been able to create a lot of beefs, but none of those beefs manifest into any drama or interesting television or... Like, his whole MO from Big Brother, if there was any research done, is he's Mr. Conflict Averse. I think he is, like, one of the people who is, like, going to be at the front of the line for, like, a bananas minion. And if, O'Reilly's there, who he has beef with, there's going to be no beef. He's going to apologize like a little puppy dog and then talk more shit behind their backs because that's inherently who he is. So that's this one dealt with. But he's a huge physical dude, and I could see him succeeding, especially if he was in that last final. I don't think he's, like, terrible at puzzles, and he's, the best swimmer in the challenge history, and he's a huge fucking dude, and he's ripped. And I think his skill set lends itself better to the challenge than it does Big Brother. Okay, Riley, apparently. Thanks Anonymous for gifting a dog. He's going to be one of Banana's angels, yeah. Toes in the center. I think the main criticism of Riley would be like she was a second boot, yada yada yada, and she's not very drama, and she was HOH and cried a lot, and like I think people often give Riley too much credit in some areas and then take away too much credit in other areas. I think when people act like Riley was like a ringleader, like led the cult of Riley with Blue and Jag and Matt wrapped around her finger and everything, that was never a thing. Like that was never a thing, right? So if you want Riley to be like the leading all the rookies against the vets, that's not going to happen. But I think people do underestimate how great of a narrator Riley was. Those first 2 weeks of Big Brother, the episodes, Riley was literally like one of two main characters. It was Suri and Riley with a bit of Heisem. And Riley was a great narrator. She's a good character. She's good at being real to the cameras. And I think that's like, it sounds like kind of very surface level, but that's like a skill that very few people on modern Big Brother have. She was so good in the DR. She was like standout good in the DR. And I feel like people just don't keep that in mind. So the way I see it is the challenge, if you're willing to, get in some drama, you're able to compete, and you're good in confessional, I'm happy. I think this is a good choice. Obviously, there's some, I don't know where the fuck Riley and Matt stand at this point. I would hope that, they're not like besties again, but who could say? But I think this is a perfectly good choice. Like, if they're going to cast Amira, I think Riley's better casting than Amira. I think Amira was fine casting too, I don't see her getting in any arguments. She's more likely to break down and cry. Yeah, I understand that. I don't think she's the type to fight back necessarily, but look, you've never seen any of these people with alcohol. That's like a real thing. Like, people drink and then they get a little bit more whatever. I could see that maybe even happening with like a Matt, maybe a Riley, maybe a Kat, I don't know. So, especially with Riley, who's only there for 2 weeks, like maybe there's more confrontational stuff there. Also, in Big Brother, being confrontational is so bad. In the challenge, it's like bad strategically, but it's like the cultural thing to do. It's fine. Riley doesn't drink. Last time we spoke to her, she wasn't drinking. I don't know if that's a permanent thing. But you could ask her. And then there's Cam, which I think is just an interesting choice. Like, ultimately from BB26, I think the best options would be MJ, Chelsea, to be honest. I think Tucker's obviously, interesting. I don't think it's unreasonable to grab Tucker. I'd like to see Quinn, but feels like it'd be like a bit of an outlier of who they cast. But the one thing I like about Cam, I like everything about Cam. I think he's a super likable dude. I was already pulling for him in 26, but he was so maligned in BB26 for being so bad at comps and so made fun of and whatever. I'd kind of like to see him kick some ass on the challenge, just personally. So that's one thing. He's literally the most chill, conflict-averse person out there. There was that little drama with Chelsea, but that was kind of all because of Chelsea. So I don't know exactly what the vision here is. Well, I know what the vision here is. He's like a strong, hot dude, single, as far as I understand. So it's kind of just how the challenge casts. But I think he's, it's, I don't know. I'm not as against it as I am them casting Matt, but, I hope he's good. I love seeing David win some comps in the challenge. I like David on the challenge, USA. I thought it was fun. Shay, I might swerve, bend that corner. Whoa. Yeah, perfect. Got his appendix taken out. Insane story. Insane. Do you think Cam would do better at challenge comps than BB comps? Yeah, because some of them are just overtly physical, and he's going to be very strong in that department. But ultimately, all the running around doing puzzle stuff, that's kind of Big Brother-y. So you got to... He's got to clean that up. Is the challenge at all strategic or just purely physical? I've never seen it. It's extremely strategic. And it's gotten more strategic as time's gone on, which is kind of a shame. But the thing is, it all revolves around a very physical, merit-based game and structure. So it's kind of like the Genius in certain ways, where you can play a strategic mastermind game, but at a certain point, you got to fucking win. You actually have to just beat people head-to-head. And that's what makes it different from Big Brother. You never really have to do that. And to get out a big strategic threat or whatever, you have to beat them. Are you pro or anti-Wes? Generally speaking, I'm pro-Wes. I think he's annoying sometimes, but I think he adds to the show. I think he's a good narrator. I think he's self-aware about his character. And I think he's one of the better people on the challenge in terms of like the huge, massive names. Like, I feel like I'd agree on more stuff with Wes than I would like Bananas and Laurel and maybe in Cara to a certain degree. And, you know, you can always save yourself physically on the challenge. You can save yourself competitively. Like, some of these eliminations are just fucking like a slide puzzle and then a math equation, you know? Like, there's always a chance to save yourself. It's not always Hall Brawl. If Matt is actually on, I still won't be tuning in. Whatever. Just one person. He's not going to take up much space. I think the important thing is, like, and what bums me out about these veterans, or these rookies, rather, is whenever you cast a lot of vets and a lot of rookies on a challenge season, you need to give the rookies a real chance to organize and to strike against the vets. And these three are not going to strike against the vets. I think Riley has the best shot of doing so, but I wouldn't... Like, I don't think Riley would be the type to, like, organize a flip in the Big Brother house, you know? She's strategic. It's just not... I don't think that's, like, her style. So, like, all three of these people I could see, like, falling in line with whoever's running the game, you know, which I would love to be wrong about that. And I will say, on a personal level, I am happy Riley hopefully is going to get another chance to do something because, you know, obviously I've spoken to her, like, getting out that early, it's just devastating, especially when all your friends and people, you know, from the cast made it so much further. Honestly, like, just removing myself and America from, like, the equation, I think the people from recent seasons who are, like, slam dunks, like Taylor, if she ever wants to do it, obviously is just a slam dunk. I think Jared, for what it's worth, like, I think he honestly was, like, miscast on Big Brother. Like, he's meant for the challenge. I don't know if he'd be the best competitor. Like, he's obviously a strong physical guy, and he showed a decent amount of competition prowess in 25, as much as people like to clown him. But I do think he has more of a challenge vibe than a lot of Big Brother people. Blue, I think, is an interesting one. I appreciate Blue in the sense that she is going to give challenge vibes in confessional, not with the kitty purr stuff, but with, like, the being vindictive and calling people out and mean things. I just hope that manifests into drama in the house, you know, not just in confessional. And obviously I think if Blue and Jared are there together, I hope they haven't made amends, because that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, I don't think there's anyone else from 25 really to consider. Cameron, I guess. I don't know. It feels like that ship has sailed. Obviously there's Jag. I don't know. I think Jag's a CBS boy. I feel like Jag is, like, too preoccupied with not acting like an asshole, which I think is very admirable. I don't think the challenge is conducive to that, you know? Kirsten. Kirsten would be great, obviously. I don't think there's one argument against Kirsten being on. Well, there is. She was first out. I don't care. If they were getting on Riley, who was second out, get on Kirsten, who was first out. I could see Jag if they did another USA. Yeah, I could see that more. Yeah, well, so Mountain Doofus, that I agree. Like, it just kind of shows how much you watch the show. Because if you watch the show, you'd kind of think, even though she didn't get involved in any fights or anything, Blue, like, the way she carries herself, you'd think she would have. But if you watch the feeds, you know that just wasn't the case. But, like, I would not imagine the challenge casting watches the feeds, you know? Like, I'd want Izzy on my TV. Izzy doesn't fit on that show. But Kirsten would be hilarious. And Heisem, I think, would just be hard. Like, it would just... Ultimately, like, he wouldn't be that old for the cast. Like, they got a lot of 40-year-olds. But it'd be very, like... They're casting Heisem? That's crazy. Maybe a USA season again, which, as far as I understand, like, is it canceled? Is it on hiatus? I don't know where it is. Thanks, Balloon Horses, for the 11 months. I appreciate it. That's why Blue is my least favorite type of house guest, because she was so hateful behind people's back in a personal non-game way and then wouldn't say anything to their face. I think the wouldn't say anything to their face is the lame part. On the challenge, like, it's weird. Like, I don't take personal attacks as bad on the challenge. Like, what did I hear? Wasn't it, like, Amanda said she hopes Cara Maria's horse dies? Like, that's the most insane shit to ever say to someone ever. But it was funny. And I feel like the challenge is just like, there's obviously stuff you could say that's truly deplorable and should be criticized. But, like, if you say it to someone's face, I could at least respect that. I don't think she would say anything. In confessional, though. Challenge is all theatrics, nothing serious. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think you just get used to it, though, because you talk so much shit and then about this one person, then you see that person the next season, and you go to all these events together. Like, there's only so much you can hate anyone. Okay. Any other last-minute challenge questions before I jump back to Big Brother? Because there's a really nerdy Big Brother thread that I want to talk about that has nothing to do with this shit. Well, I will say, of the vets who theoretically are rumored to be on, people are shitting on, like, why are they having Bananas back? It's like, damn, y'all, like, I watched 40. Bananas was the only one providing anything. Like, I'm not a fan. I think you guys know that, but, like, he still brings it, and I feel like he's less of a central figure in the episodes these days, where it used to just be like, oh my god, it's the fucking Banana show. I'm actually not that upset about, Bananas being asked back. I think Leroy is an interesting one, because it's like, damn, what new are we going to get from Leroy? Cara, I always think Cara is pretty fun to watch. Devin, I'm fine with Devin. He's a little bit too, I think, gravitational. Like, he gets too much screen time, I think. He's just that kind of character. But I think he's pretty fun to watch. Anissa, I just don't quite get it. I don't want to be mean. I don't like when people are being mean to Anissa for no reason, but I just don't. She gets herself in a little bit of, like, relationship drama every now and then, but it's just, I don't really see the vision. Who else is on that list? Nani. I kind of like Nani. I don't know. I don't have any, like, I get it's like, why we're bringing Nani back again, but I just kind of like Nani. And then there's Derek, who I love Derek. I've met Derek in person. I just think, like, after the run he had in 40, you got to give him another season, I think you and Devin are very similar. I think I'm a lot more dry than Devin. Like, Devin's a little bit more corny, but that plays better on TV, so. I have a lot of respect for, I think. Like Devin, I feel like, is like a Wes or a Bananas in the sense of he's just kind of playing a character. And I do think in person I'd get along with Devin really well. I think, like, I'll talk about it, people's politics in the challenge. I feel like Devin's one of the only people I would jive with, D from Survivor's rumored. I mean, that'd be a fucking slam dunk if they get D. If CT was on it, I like CT. I think it's fine. Like, at a certain point, I wish they would, like, phase out the old school vets and kind of bring back the new school vets. But you got to have the new school vets bring some stuff, and if they're not going to, what else are you going to do? Do you think Tyson from Survivor should go on? I think he should. I don't think he works like a conventional job. And I know he was kind of burned on USA 1, but fuck it. Like, make some money, get back on TV. I don't think they'd ask him. I think he was very vocal about hating the show. I agree with the post I saw that was shocked that Anna Lee from The Amazing Race was not on the short list. I've seen so much Anna Lee hype. It's kind of funny to me. She seems cool. Do you think the challenge is in danger of being canceled within a couple of years? I mean, I could see it, I suppose. It's all under the umbrella of Paramount, though, so, like, they're not struggling that bad. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I cannot see them ever canceling the challenge while the challenge All-Stars is still, like, is still happening. So, before the challenge gets canceled, they're going to have to cancel All-Stars. So, that'll be, like, a warning sign. So, I think there's still quite a bit of time. Remember Annalise and Tommy? I saw Tom. Well, I saw Tommy Bracco. I also saw Tommy Sheehan. I was like, what the fuck is this casting choice? Are you gonna address the rumors about you? No, of course not. Like here, I'll say what I always say about these kinds of things. It's like, y'all know how reliable spoiler accounts are. Take that for what it is. Some are more reliable than others, and some are most reliable about certain things than others, right? Actual spoilers, casting spoilers, whatever the case. So, like, that's where it is. But that's about it. That's all I've got, I think, about the challenge. I'm going to veer off into weird Big Brother meta commentary land. Which reality TV show have you watched the longest? The Challenge? No, it was Survivor. I watched Survivor All-Stars, the first season of reality TV I've ever watched. Big Brother was quick after that. America is getting better at swimming. Her form is, like, really good. It's just about learning how to fit those breaths in. All right. So I saw a Reddit thread that that aggravated me quite a bit. And to anyone who's new, we've got a Q&A in the top right, at the top of the chat. Any question I cannot answer, I'll gift a sub unless that question's insane. But I saw this thread, and I want to talk about it because I think it's very interesting because they made a lot of points that I was like, this is an interesting point I never thought of. And a lot of points that I'm like, this is the stupidest shit ever. So, let's do it. I'll zoom, don't worry. Okay. So let's get this going. Okay. An analysis of the BB25 cast and their impact on casting for 26 and upcoming seasons. Okay. I think BB production and Major League casting learned a lesson after BB25. The BB25 cast was not particularly good at strategy or social ability and overall likability, and I'm going to discuss the impact of this. First of all, what the fuck? We're not good strategically, socially, or likability-wise? Okay, well, I'll let them cook. Strategy. The BB25 cast was at a disadvantage in the strategic field as they had the misfortune of playing with such a dominant returning player in Suri. Their strategy thus became super conservative despite a lot of strategic talks and situations. The issue is that BB25's strategic acumen was difficult to show on the main show and thrive on the live feeds due to how erratic it was. Players were almost always strategizing, but their conclusions were always super safe, and this led to boring episodes. Let's talk about that part. So, I think a lot of the BB25 cast all looking like idiots at different times is what this poster is talking about. Suri playing was insane. And it's not just having Suri there, which already would have been enough, but Suri and, of course, Jared and, of course, Izzy. And let's be totally fucking real, me as well. Like, me being there should have also been a problem. And someone later in the thread talks about Felicia, which I do understand that obviously, like, they're two older, relative to the cast, black women, and that is, like, in most seasons going to result in some sort of bond. Like, that's how these things work. But I think it's, like, a little bit of a stretch to be like, oh my god, Suri was given Felicia at the start. Like, I think that's... Like, I get it, but, like, explain it, you know? But I'm a much better example of, like, okay, all of a sudden we have an influx of Survivor blood plus her son. And I think that did lead to a lot of, like, you know, people not really knowing what was going on, and the house being weirdly super disorganized and organized at the same time. Now, what I think is very interesting is because of how many strategic conversations and how chaotic the strategic landscape of BB25 was, I think they make a good point of saying it's hard to show this shit on the episodes. It's almost impossible to give an accurate retelling of like a BB25 week in that tight time frame. Part of that is because they shoved so many twists into the episodes and the competition was super, like there's things they could have done. But it's kind of hard to edit like a super crazy back and forth. Are we backdooring Heisem? Are we backdooring Heisem? We should, we shouldn't, we should, we shouldn't. Oh, he's on the block. We should vote him out. We shouldn't vote him. We should vote him. We shouldn't vote him out. Like there's a lot of shit going on. Whereas BB26, there were very few strategic conversations. But the ones that happened almost always determined how the week would end up because there weren't other strategic conversations happening. So it was much easier on production to tell a cohesive story. Like so often you'd watch BB26 and like it was pretty accurate. Like they can't show all the nuance, but like think about when Tucker wanted Quinn backdoored by Cedric and it was America's veto. Like the episode showed everything that happened that week. I updated for certain days of that week. Like you missed some stuff. Like what? You missed T-Core and Chemo talking. It just wasn't that much. Whereas 25, it was like constant every fucking minute. The vote was flipping. And I think they make a good point of like, yeah, well, sometimes it would flip back to neutral. So like after a full day of deciding, oh, we actually shouldn't backdoor Heisem, it would end up being we're backdooring Heisem. So really we didn't get anywhere. But you do get somewhere because in all these conversations about flipping the vote, people expose certain alliances, relationships, expend social capital. So like it all ends up mattering. Anyways, compared to BB26, where strategic actions were perfect for the episodes, the cast was barely strategizing, but when they did, they enacted their strategic plan, which always showed well in the episode. I agree with that. I think that's a good point. So you have a cast where the strategy could not very effectively be shown in the episodes in an engaging way. Thus, a lot of things were left on the editing floor. Izzy and how she was under-edited despite being a strategic force in the house. I think Izzy's edit wasn't as bad as people say. She was under-edited for how big of a presence she was on the feeds. Really, it was just Suri was over-edited. And obviously, Suri was running the game, so I get it, and she's a great narrator. But, like, all of Izzy's potential content, and even, like, Felicia's potential content in certain spots, and even Jared's in certain spots, was just given to Suri. So, like, that's just, you know. It's like if you're Paul's number 2 in BB19, Paul's just going to eat up those confessionals. Okay, let's talk about social games. BB25 cast as a whole had weak social games, largely correlated that there were such different and eccentric personalities. Thus, it was difficult for people to effectively play socially with each other. Great examples of this is players like Cameron Red, Bowie Blue, Jared Heisem, who were all such bold and different personalities and also very weird and eccentric. It's kind of an interesting idea. Like, can everyone on a cast have a bad social game? Like, does that make sense? Like, I'm just trying to compute it in my head. Like, is that not just the nature of the house? Like, I get what they're saying is BB26 had a much more amicable house where, like, everyone was just chill. But, like, who in BB25 would you say had a good social game? Give me the full list. Okay, I got Suri. Sure. Matt, I think you would say. Is there anyone else? Are y'all going to say Felicia? You? I think that's up in the air. I think there was pros and cons. Jag, maybe? I don't think Jag. I like Jag. Jag was likable. Mimi? I don't think so. Bowie? I don't think Bowie. Like, there's a lot of people who didn't like Bowie. And, I love Bowie. I couldn't explain why. America? I don't think it's America's fault, but I think that's a hard case to make. Jag? People didn't like Jag. And, again, like, I think they're dumb for that. Like, I don't know why Suri had this thing for Jag, or Jared had this thing for Jag. Izzy had this thing for Jag. Blue was shit-talking Jag at different times. Like, not you. Nah, that's your boy. America did go back to Blue multiple times. What are you talking about? Riley had a whole cult following all the way to the end. No, she didn't. What are you talking about? Blue probably was one of the most socially liked players. Absolutely not. What? You could maybe give her, like, who liked Blue? And I'm fine with Blue now, but help me out. America probably is one of the big ones. America liked Blue a lot. I think Jag liked Blue a lot. But Suri was not a fan of Blues. I think Felicia was pretty good with Blue. Matt pretended. Allie, I think that's insane. You think Suri, Felicia, Mimi? Mimi was targeting Blue the entire season till the last week of her in the house. The entire season. Like, if Kirsten was still in the house, America would have dropped Blue. All right, this is the conversation we need to be having. But she came around? Yeah, sure. She did come around by the end. But I think that's a pretty crazy take. And Suri did not like Blue at all. I think that's kind of been evidenced. Bowie did not like Blue either. Like, I think there was really a... So I guess the question is, why did no one have a good social game? You know what I mean? And I think, is it the eccentric personalities? Maybe. I think a lot of it was the strategic nature of the game, where everyone was kind of pinned against each other. Whereas BB26, everyone just kind of had their friends. Like, BB25 truly was strategy first, friend second. Which I think led to, more animosity between people. Whereas, like, BB26, like, the alliance is formed based on who were friends with each other. Like, the Friend Z alliance is the antithesis of this. So, like, they say compare this to BB26, where the personalities overall melded better despite wildcards like Angela, Tucker, and Lisa. BB26 was able to build proper social relationships, which you saw. Okay. I'm just going to keep going, because I do have some thoughts, but they touch on more of it after. I feel like this is obvious. The BB25 cast had such horrible and deplorable people, at least in the game, such as Cam, Red, Matt, Blue, Jared, Luke. Moreover, there were people like Bowie and Mimi who were boring and didn't do much. The BB25 cast is filled with such polarizing people, but not in a fun, cute, camp way, more in an uncomfortable and eerie way. Compare this to BB26 cast, who had overall likable people who never did anything truly offensive or jarring, makes the cast easier to stomach. Okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know. Look, right now, gun to my head, I think BB25 was way more problematic than BB26 in a vacuum, if the entirety of the feeds were released. But the BB26 feeds and the BB25 feeds were not the same. They were not edited the same way. People were not given the same leash. That is a choice that Big Brother's going to stick with. It's a better option for them. I don't like it. That's what they're going to do. So that's one part of it for sure. I think if you want to say BB25 was kind of tough to watch because people like, Cameron and Matt and Jared and Luke were saying all these things that you didn't like, didn't agree with, I understand that. That's fine. And I think it's probably particularly damaged by the fact that all these players did relatively well. I mean, not Luke, but Jared was in control of the game for a while. And I'm sure his downfall was fun, but it was zombie week, and Cam was kind of a nightmare, and his multiple downfalls were fun, but he kept getting brought back, and, Matt, I guess, had a downfall, but it didn't really feel like a downfall. Like, it was maybe a couple of seconds of downfall. So I do understand that as an issue. But as much as you can criticize Big Brother 25 for having the deplorable figures, I think the biggest and most fair criticism of Big Brother 26 by far is, I think the cast, it was too much of an overcorrection. Everyone was so nice and amicable, and there was so little drama outside of like Angela and Tucker, and it just didn't feel very authentic, at least to me. I think most of that probably comes to the Friend Z alliance, honestly, who is it, like T-Core, Chemo, Rubina. Tucker brought his own thing, but even that, it was just, there was so, Cam as well, there was so many figures in the middle, late endgame that were just so not, I don't want to say disinterested or uninterested in winning, but it was just not the priority, or wasn't visibly the priority, and that their actions didn't reflect that. And I think that, is always going to lead to, again, like when strategy is less of a focus, there's going to be less interpersonal conflict and less drama. Because there's less opportunity for people to get caught in lies or to be confronted or to have all these things happen. It does feel like with BB25, they got like an edge and they tried to remove or broaden out that edge for BB26, which I think is a mistake. I get the impulse. I think it's an overcorrection. I think the smarter thing would just be cast less problematic people. But I know the casting process. It's not like crazy in depth. To a certain point, there's only so much you can do. Some more recruits. So we'll talk about that in a second. I think when casting BB26, production felt that BB25 was a failure in entertainment. I think that's on production. I 100% from the bottom of my heart believe that's on production. I think you could have made some absolutely excellent episodes out of BB25 and you failed. I get it's harder, but I thus, they casted people who are generally more amicable and likable. I agree. People who are not that tuned into strategy, thus preventing strategic steamrolls and allowing for new strategy and strategic fumbles, which are entertaining. I agree to a certain degree. I mean, there was no Suri, I think, is the bigger deal. I think if you put Suri on this cast, it's not more strategically dynamic, really. It might be a little bit more, but it's just a steamroll. That's like... And BB25 really wasn't a steamroll, ever, strategically. Like, there was, like, the Suri steamroll that was happening, but even then there was a lot of stuff happening. And then the second half ended up being a steamroll when you look at it in reverse, because Jag won everything. But in the moment, the house was very divided, basically at all times. And Chelsea did steamroll, too. Chelsea and MJ, honestly. I think by casting amicable people, the social game became easier for players, as you don't have to influence a player like Blue, who can be so jarring, or try to form a bond with a player like Jared or Cameron, who are misogynistic and brash. Overall, the 26 cast was easier to watch, as there wasn't this air of uncomfortable news brought by such eccentric, brash personalities like 25. I think it was easier to watch. I don't think it was more captivating, which, again, that's just a preference thing. I think this is a better move for production to cast more likable and amicable players so that the game can be fluid and more entertaining, so they don't have to worry about certain players and their behavior. I'm sure with the success of 26, they're going to cast similarly for 27, I agree. And although some people may consider such a cast as weak, I'd much rather that than a cast I can't stand. For whoever read all this, thank you, okay. I like people who talk about Big Brother on this level, this nerdy, this nuance, so I appreciate this post. So, I do think 26 BB casting is going to lean towards BB26 in BB27 casting. I think it'd be crazy to predict something else. I think it's a little bit unfair to criticize the BB25 cast's like fluidity in gameplay when we were just hit with the craziest twists of all time and Suri Fields and inequitable competitions. Like, if your takeaway is the cast was fucked up, I think that's a crazy takeaway in terms of the strategic fluidity. This person's a casual. Yeah, I mean, I think they're like somewhere in between a casual and like a super fan feedster. I don't think they're full on casual. Why do you think CBS learned from this? The way they edit Cameron and put him on render games, you got AFP. What's to learn from that? I don't think they learned anything from it. Look, I'm not totally I believe production thinks Cameron's a great guy. That's what I think. I don't think they're like, oh, we're hiding all of his deplorable behavior. They're hiding all the behavior that other people would deem controversial. But I don't think there's any takeaway of like, oh, we got to edit people more intentionally. So, a couple things. When people talk about Big Brother 26 and the strategic craziness of it all, I find that a little bit crazy because Big Brother 25 was by all metrics a more strategically nuanced, kind of crazy season. Like the big moments of Big Brother 26 were what strategically? It was just Tucker not using the veto on himself and then winning the AI arena. Tucker using like what were the big swing moments? The Joseph vote, I think, was probably the biggest one. The Cedric flip and the Joseph flip. Yeah, I think those are probably the moments. Sam reading. But the reason why there were so many blindsides, and I feel very confident about this point, because the Big Brother 26 cast was so much less familiar with the show, basically there were 4 to 5 people who have seen multiple seasons, as far as I understand. Production was able to have a much stronger grip on these people, not in terms of influencing their game moves. Big Brother's not rigged. Anyone who says that is stupid. But in terms of being like, hey, you're not allowed to tell people who you're voting for. You're not allowed to tell someone you're voting for them to go. Which is something that's in our Big Brother handbooks. It's in our, we're told that, but on BB25, no one gives a shit because, come on, we've all seen Big Brother before. On 26, I think players took that to heart, and that quickly became the culture in the house. So I think there's a little bit of a slippery slope there of they just kind of can control, recruits more than they can fans. Because fans kind of know what they want. So that's one part. AI Arena was definitely the main reason. I disagree. I think the AI Arena was pretty well designed. I think it also, I used to think the AI Arena would stifle people's attempts to flip the house, but there was not much gameplay to stifle on BB26. People weren't playing that hard, so I actually don't think it had as big of an impact. But I think they did very well with the equitable comps in the AI Arena. I thought it was going to be much worse than it was. You're not allowed to say how you're voting. It's weird. You're not allowed to tell someone you're voting for them to be evicted, but you're allowed to lie about where you're voting, and you're obviously allowed to tell the truth about where you're voting. So, I can go to America and be I'm voting to keep you. That's allowed. But then if she's next to Cameron, I'm not supposed to go to Cameron and say I'm voting to evict you because they want to somehow preserve blindsides. But obviously all of us are hearing this what the fuck are you talking about? Aren't you technically not allowed to say you're nomming someone? Exact same thing, yeah. You're not supposed to say that. So, but again, Jacksonia, I'm sure that's been the case every season for years, but most seasons don't give a shit because it's okay, well, we're going to go play Big Brother. Don't mind us. But on 26, it feels like they got a group that was okay, can't tell anyone. We'll do. And also, BB26, for as much as people talk about equitable comps, and I think they did so much better with the comps in 26 than 25, especially in the first half, MJ and Chelsea still won everything. Everything towards the end. And I don't really blame the comp team for this. This just is kind of always going to happen. You can design comps that are theoretically fair for everybody, but some people are just better than other people at competing and performing under pressure. So, my suggestion is just make more kind of luck-based things, but I understand they don't want to do 10 crapshoots. That's kind of boring. That's what I'm saying, Nick. I do agree. I think they're more creative with the comp design, too. But it's still nowhere near, Big Brother Canada. So I don't blame the comp team for the results, but, it was a steamroll at the end. Chemo, T, Cory, Rubina couldn't win anything, and Angela had a couple wins throughout there, but it was just kind of MJ, Chelsea alternating. Let's read some comments. Jag, Jared, and Cameron were all successfully evicted. Yeah, we all know the twists were really the biggest problem with the season. We could have had Chemo as a winner. Thank God MJ and Chelsea were good at comps. Yeah, Chelsea was a great winner, which helps the season a ton. Battlebacks are terrible. BB25 cast put in position by production, so we had week 1 immunity and 3 built-in allies. Yeah, ironically, though, that was probably the best part of the season, right? Was the, first half with Suri running the game. And I think that's not, people don't complain about Big Brother 25 oh my God, the strategy was so bad for the first half. Like, really, like, the strategy was awesome, and then Jag went on a comp run and the game ended. So I think people do sometimes misattribute what they don't like about the season. Like, a lot of people think the Suri stuff was unfair, and I understand that, but, like, Suri lost, and her power structure was destroyed, and that was probably the best part of the season. Like, that was fun. And Suri was not Paul. Suri was a fun house leader. I do disagree with Felicia being a built-in ally. I agree with you. I think that's weird. I get the premise of, like, people gravitate towards people who are similar to them demographically or maybe geographically, wherever they get. But, like, it's not a built-in ally. That's kind of crazy. In Productions Defense, Kaz and Suri having super last minute. I would love to hear the truth about this. Like, none of that makes sense to me, but okay. And again, they always just leave me out of it. Like, I should have been a Suri minion. Like, I'm sure that's not what they were hoping for, but that was like what do you expect when you cast me and Jared? If Suri isn't on, you or Mimi win the season. I think if Suri isn't on, it's probably still Jag. Right? Like, I don't see how Suri changes that. Like, I think Family Style just has more control, and then ultimately the end of the game comps are still the end of the game comps. I think, like, Izzy and Heisem and all of them get steamrolled, and it's just like a Big Brother 21 style Cool Kids alliance towards the end. And then, like, I would try to turn on Jag and not be able to. Riley when Suri's not there? No, I don't think so. I don't agree with this at all. The B25 cast is a lot better strategically. I think that's true, other than Chelsea. Half of the cast was better than the rest of BB26. I mean, maybe a few exceptions. I think Brooklyn and, maybe just Brooklyn. Do people forget how many people volunteer to go on the block every week? BB26, BB25, it's better. I think the BB25 cast is better in most ways, too. It had terrible production, edited episodes. 26 is overrated, aided by the episodes being better edited. I will say, like, that's kind of my takeaway, and I don't want to sound, like, bitter in terms of, oh, my God, you like 26 more than 25, you must be a casual. But I think the way people talked about and, like, revere BB26 as, like, a full season product kind of exposed to me that, like, there's very few actual people who watch the live feeds. And I would say, like, I'm probably in that category for a lot of the seasons I've watched Big Brother, where, like, I follow through Twitter and I listen to some podcasts and, like, I'm there, but I'm not really watching the feeds. I think if you watch the feeds for 26, it's hard to be crazy high on the season. But I think a lot of people who, like, are somewhere between casuals and super fans. And I think from that perspective, BB26 was extremely fun. You know? It weirdly got big on TikTok this season. It's funny. If Matt and Cameron were on this past season, their behavior probably would have been hidden by the current live feed format. Absolutely. I mean, Cameron's was hidden on BB25 for the second half. So, like, they learned very quickly about that. BB25 was so bad, production definitely learned a lot. Better casting, never doing 100 days again. Finally getting equitable comps, incredible. And unanimous votes were always an issue, but 25, I think, had the most ever. And AI Arena was created specifically to prevent that. That pisses me off. Guys, unanimous votes are not the fucking problem. Oh, my God. People are so annoying about it. Like, that's such a I only watch the episodes opinion. Like, no one gives it, like, those first 6 weeks of Big Brother 25, no one gives a shit about the unanimous votes. That shit was insane. There was so much more going on in those 6 weeks than some of these, like, 7-3 votes on BB26. I think that's just, like, a turbo casual opinion. And yeah, it's great when the vote is split. And I think, like, BB20 was able to do both, right? But I just think, like, I don't care about the split votes like that. I think it's so goofy. It's like literally, like, I just watch the episodes. I watch feeds 24/7 and I hate unanimous votes. I think there's a very interesting journey to watch on the feeds of, like, getting to that unanimous vote and getting people on board to vote one way and everyone trying to figure out what's going on. And again, the reason why BB26 didn't have unanimous votes, I believe is because people weren't disclosing their votes because they didn't think they were allowed to. That's what I believe. AI Arena played a role, sure. Sure. But there were also non-unanimous votes at the end, so. Yeah, it was never going to be possible, submarines. I'm telling you, if America and Blue were not there, Jared and I still would not have worked. It would have been a matter of time until we clashed. I think Blue and America, basically the way he viewed America mostly, accelerated everything. But we are too different. Cory and Izzy would have been the real duo. We would have been fun, but it would have been tough. Again, like I get people saying the Suri stuff's not fair, but it wasn't the problem with the season. Like it was one of the better parts of the season. It sucked to play, and I feel like it gave a lot of people like no chance, but it made the show kind of like that was the good part of the show. What's up, Lil Pink? Hope everything's all right. Yeah, this is basically the point. Like the strategy wasn't conservative. I think that's a crazy opinion to have. I think BB26, the strategy was very conservative, except for Tucker. And Chelsea in moments. But Chelsea, I think the way she played was more like how Jag played in terms of just like the way she made decisions. Where like she made the right decision by the end of the week. And, it wasn't like super cutthroat or anything. It was just like she got rid of the person she should have gotten rid of. But like BB25, people were playing fucking off their rockers. So that's it. I thought it was an interesting thread. That's always fun to talk about. Q&A, we have 129 questions. I'm going to close responses right now. 129. I don't think I'm going to get through all of them, but I'll zoom through as many as I can, okay? Casual commentary asked what Matt did. It happens. Okay, let's zoom through it. Mod Alexia. There's so many people I'd mod before Alexia. Holy. Who did you vote for? I voted for Kamala Harris. Also, Elon Musk definitely did a Hitler salute. I'm sorry. Like, here's the thing. Obviously, there's many people who have done the Hitler salute action while not actually intending a Hitler salute. But when you have a lot of Hitler behaviors and perspectives and views and a track record of Hitler-esque stuff, it makes me a lot more willing to believe you did a Hitler salute. That makes sense? like I think a lot of people would say, like, oh, look at these people who have their arms in a similar location. Yes, but have they tried to enact... Okay, here's the thing. AOC. Look, AOC is holding her arm up like Hitler. Okay. Did AOC buy a social media platform and overnight did that social media platform turn into a safe haven for Nazis and anti-Semitism? Overnight? Were the people who said these horribly anti-Semitic, hateful things unbanned on AOC's social media platform? Call a spade, like... Sometimes you have to judge people on their past behavior to make assumptions about their current behavior. Yeah, Elon Musk's interesting quote tweets are some of the only way to confirm that there's actually nothing interesting going on. Cory, I need to walk the walk and move to blue sky. It's over. Jeremy, move on. I respect it, but it's over. So I voted for Kamala Harris. How much money did you get for your ball? I mean, that is purely non-disclosure agreement stuff, so I'm not even going to gift a sub for that. But it paid for my college and not much else. But it almost paid for my college, honestly. It didn't even get there. So you can do the math. I go to Vanderbilt. How much you love your Forever bracelet? Was this you, America? You guys want to check it out? See it? Little hearts. I have to like stop being, I feel like I'm hyper fixating on it. Like I feel it all the time. I gotta forget it's there. It's not good. Like sometimes I'll be able to forget and other times it's all I can think about. So I have to figure out that situation. What do you in America do for work currently? nothing. I mean, I stream and we have our Patreon. America does Instagram and all that. But ultimately, I'm waiting for law school. So this is my gap year between undergrad and law school. So I've applied to everywhere, and I'm hearing back within probably the next month. And I'll be a law student starting next year. And you guys can ask America. I mean, America's got a lot of things she wants to do. So that is that's the answer to that question. What shows are you binge watching these days? Watching The Vampire Diaries. We just watched Severance. I've already seen it once, so I watched it for the second time, and now we're watching week to week. I watched all of Squid Game. I like season 2 quite a bit. Fun employed. That's right. Is streaming harder than a 9 to 5? It's a good question. It's definitely a lot less reliable, but I do think it's quite a bit easier. Just started Severance too. It's crazy. It's a really good show. It's giving me Lost vibes for sure. What did you learn about America during this last trip together? Okay, Cameo. What did I learn about America? Every time I go to New York, I realize how much America loves New York. Loves it, loves it. And I feel like I had a much better time. We had no schedule this time, so we were able to just kind of do what we wanted to do. Thanks, Night Cheese. I appreciate the gift to Steel Cage. I'm not watching Beast Games now. What was the real reason you went to LA? See my brother. That's the reason. See my brother, couldn't get my flight back. But if you guys would like for me to gift a sub, because you won't believe me, we could put one on the tab, because I don't think there's going to be very many questions I'm not willing to answer. And, you know, the whole genius of me gifting a sub is I also get half that money back, so. Definitely a lie. Okay. We believe you. Thanks, Tom. Training Zach for Survivor 50, yeah. Survivor Blood versus Water 3. So put it on the tab. We have one. I have to gift one. Thoughts on the executive orders? I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them. There's too many. But what pisses me off is how the Republican Party is simultaneously much more evil and more competent than the Democrats. Like, I think the Democratic Party is very flawed. I don't agree with a lot of what they try to do. But the biggest thing I disagree with is that they never actually do anything. Like, the Republican Party just acts more than the Democratic Party. Like, they get their shit done. And the shit they want to get done is horrible. But they get it done. And it's infuriating how, like, Biden and the Democrats have so much respect for the institutions. Like, I don't have any fucking respect for the institutions. I wish they packed the courts. So, that's my opinion. I think people should pack the courts. I'll die on that hill. You and America are killing it at rock climbing. Yes, we're going to post some videos on our Patreon. My hands hurt so much. We went today. Kicked my ass. Why are we in LA? I already did this one. Any law school acceptances and how stressed are you about it? No, but I've only heard back from 2. I got a wait list and a deny. But they're 2 of the most difficult schools I've applied to, so I'm feeling fine. You fell for the first time today. America face planted. It was rough. It was from very low, though. She was fine. I think America needs to fall a few times to learn that it's okay to fall. Because, like, she's, like, nervous to make certain moves because she feels, like, not stable. I'm like, even if you fall, you're fine. But she can't, like, push herself to doing it. She can sometimes, though. Waitlist for Harvard. Let's go. I feel like Harvard waitlists everyone, actually. Did you apply to Fordham? I did. If you end up on the challenge or any show in the future, would you try to give some kind of vague sign, or would you just mysteriously stop streaming for potentially an extended amount of time? I'm trying to think about what you're asking. So, obviously, I wouldn't be able to stream if I was gone. I think I'd pre-prepare content, at least for, like, the Patreon. And, like, tweets and whatever to, you know, keep up appearances and whatnot. But I think it would be very obvious if I were to be on a show. Like, I would take a lot of time off streaming, so I don't think you guys would be in the dark about that. But no, I wouldn't jeopardize my opportunity to be on a show by leaking it. That's insane. Do you like Magnus Mythbo? I do, yeah, of course. I was watching him like yesterday. Thanks, Relevant Moose, for the gift. I appreciate you. America will be talking to you off screen on the sub stories. Get a soundboard. Are you prepping for Survivor? Survivors very much kept themselves out of the fray. There's never anyone like rumored to be on Survivor. You know? They do their own thing. I think it's kind of like an elitism thing, and I don't even mind it. Like, I kind of like that Survivor is not like a crossover show. It's just they do their thing. But I'm excited for 50. It's going to be fun. Can you create a word you say if you're on the show so we know? No, chaotic, but funny idea. I was going to say, this sounds like America, but the hubba, that's not America. See, my parents don't like it. The backwards hat works, okay? Do you think Elon did a Nazi salute? Actually, yeah. I think he did a Nazi salute because he's exhibited Nazi behavior in the past, so very easy for me to believe. He also is a child of, like, apartheid, right? In South Africa, like, his dad's a big part of it, so there's a lot of reasons to believe he did a Nazi salute. What school waitlisted you for law school? Any acceptances yet? Okay, whoa. How the fuck I didn't answer that. How is this? Am I crazy? I closed these submissions forever ago. It was on the pod? Okay. I'm not going to share the specific schools. That's a gifted sub. That's fair. Okay, that's the second gifted sub. I'm just not going to share any of the specifics ever. Until, like, I know what school I'm going to, then I'll say everything. But I just don't want to. I don't want that to be too public. I feel like it's weird. But that is, I think it's a fair enough question. So that's 2 gifted subs. Is your trip to Greece code for something else? Damn, y'all think we're playing the long game. The trip to Greece for America's friend's wedding that we like got invited to 7 months ago. You guys think this has been in the works for that whole time? Yes, it's a code for something. It's up to you to determine what it is. But no, it's actually not. Top 3 fairy Pokemon. Good question. Top 3 fairy Pokemon. Let's think about this. Is it because you're superstitious? No. I'm just private. Like, I don't want people to know all my business about that. I like Azumarill. That's my first one. Azumarill is kind of cool. I like Flabébé. And I like Galarian Rapidash. Those are my 3 favorites. How's law school applications going? Y'all are bitches. Y'all are being annoying. This is because of the podcast where America was like, we shouldn't talk about this. And now you guys are just pretending to give a shit. Fuck off. But they're going, I'm done with them. I'm just waiting. So, I've applied to like 20 schools. I heard back from 2 of them. So I've got like 18 of them. Probably I'm going to hear in like November and March and stuff. I do appreciate how much you guys care. I think it'd be like February, March. It's usually like 6-7 weeks from when you apply, and I applied December 1st. Is your trip to Italy code for something else? There is no trip to Italy. Are you worried that Quinn is going to take all your fans? No, I don't. I'm not worried. I think Quinn... Here's the thing. Like, Quinn and I, for as similar as we are, like, when you zoom out, like, we're 2 Big Brother nerds who placed early jury and what... We are so different vibes-wise. I think you attract a very... Not a different audience, but a different type of person. It's just different. And I think the live experience of watching us is extremely different. I think I'm more like, have me on in the background while you're doing an assignment or playing a video game or something. and he's like, that's like on the Apple TV. But I think that's why when we stream together, it's pretty fun because there's quite a bit of contrast there. Sorry, my mustache is making me itchy. I gotta trim it so bad. Oh my god. Do you wear? No, I don't wear wigs. I do get the joke though. Should we get Leroy on the podcast? I love Leroy. Look, I was always rooting for Leroy when I was young. He was my favorite. I don't know why necessarily, but I was always rooting for Leroy. Are y'all playing Fall Guys? I think we are at some point, yes. Who's more handsome, Donald Trump or Barron Trump? I guess Barron's not a child anymore, but he still feels like a child to me. I don't know. I would say Donald Trump, I guess, because I think he's a very talented orator. He's a good speaker, and I'm a big public speaking guy, so I do admire that about Trump. But it is a good question. Thank you for asking. At least I got to see my NFL team win a Super Bowl, unlike you, Arizona Cardinals. Whoever you are in the chat, out yourself. I don't know who you're talking about. And the Cardinals, here's the thing. We do have a ceiling with Kyler Murray, but we have a floor too. We could get in the playoffs. You guys contacted about going on the challenge? I already answered that question. So I'm not gifting a sub for that. That's been discussed at length. Yes, Anthony and Bailey Smith have been contacted. If you were stuck on an island with two people, what was the name of your first pet? Okay. I'm trying to think if this is trying to throw me off or if they're asking both questions. I'm going to answer both. Name of my first pet was Lexi. She was a Shih Tzu. She was adorable. Very small little dog. Stuck on an island with two people. Who would they be? I need America and then someone who can provide for us. I'd go America and John Locke. He's over there. Let me get him. Yeah, I'd go America and John Locke. Easy security question. Not for me. Bank account about to be emptied. Yeah. Were you or America actually contacted for the challenge? Yes or no? Okay. Making it easy on me. Shirtless stream? I'm down. I've been hitting the gym like crazy. Here's the problem. Like, I feel like I'm either self-conscious about my weight and like being shirtless and whatever. And obviously I don't want to be shirtless then. But if I feel really good about it, I feel like that's very vain and weird. Like, why am I streaming shirtless to flex? So I feel like there's no time when I'd want to actually stream shirtless. I think maybe when I'm just doing an activity that makes sense for being shirtless, if I'm like getting, if we're doing a water balloon stream, maybe. Show us, do it. I want to see it. America, just go to your hidden folder. What are you doing? Realistically, do you see yourself staying with America when you go to law school? Yeah. I will say it's kind of like nerve-wracking because obviously this question's insane. But like nerve-wracking of like, I feel like there is a certain amount of pressure on me of like where I get into law school because it determines where we live. And that feels like a lot of pressure. Like as much as I could be like, look, I love New York. I want to move there. I have to fucking get in somewhere, you know? And that is out of my hands. Like, obviously, it's not my fault, but that part of it is a little bit like, you know, I wish we could just make a decision of where to live instead of kind of having that decision be guided by, you know, admissions teams. So that's the question. But will you be watching Traders of America tomorrow? I'll be watching on stream. America, you gonna be there? Chicago's a happy medium. They just don't have many law schools. They have like 3. It's like U Chicago, which is impossible to get in, Northwestern, impossible to get into, and then Loyola, which I should get into, but it's not as strong of a school. What are you doing to boost your immune system? You're always sick and it's concerning. Well, I take a multivitamin every day. Honestly, I haven't been sick in a while. Like this, and I got better pretty quickly. Like I was really sick for a few days. I lost my voice. I had a really bad cough. But now it's just a little bit of a lingering cough. Like, this wasn't that bad. Have you said what you got in your LSAT? Are you not sharing it? I'm not sharing it, but I'll say what I like. It puts me in the conversation to get into a lot of these elite schools, but like not a shoe in at all. Like I have a score that's just high enough to apply to some of these places. I will say, yeah. I think you underestimate how much your fans love when you yap. This is what you've always done. We love when you talk. We're bored as hell. Are you still watching Trader episodes live? Yeah, I'll watch tomorrow. I appreciate that. These are my favorite kinds of streams. The thing is, I need interesting topics to talk about every day. So if you guys want to DM me shit on Twitter, different threads, they could be about reality TV, about not reality TV, just DM me on Twitter, and I might just do that at the start of stream every day. Have like 3 or so topics to talk about, and then do something after. Was it sicker from the awful air in LA right now? I was thinking about that, but I don't know. There's congestion too. Like it could have been air quality, but also I was in so many airports. Like I could see it being both. But yeah, Traders should be tomorrow. We'll be there. How's the California trip? How's Zach? I mean, there's not like that much you could do just because it was, the fires and everything, but it was fun. We hung out. Played Enter the Gungeon, got some food with Jag and Jazz, and it was fun. We didn't do that much. We were just kind of moving around, eating places. Going through Reddits could be fun as well. Oh, like the Am I the Asshole stuff? Yeah. If you were to go on the challenge, what would you do to prepare? I think for me, it would be 97% physical training. I know enough of the show already. I'm not very good at puzzles. Like I would learn the ones that you have to learn. The number one where you have to add them all up to 9. But I think for me, obviously, like my biggest deficit would be the physical stuff. Like I would have to be able to hold my own stamina wise and strength wise against certain people. So I would put a disproportionate amount of time into that training. When's the streams with Hassan? I enjoy Hassan. I think he's very good at what he does. Who's your arch nemesis? Who would you guys say is my arch nemesis? Because they have to be on my level. You know what I mean? They have to be someone on my plane. I don't think Matt and I's was direct enough, our beef. I think it has to be Heisem. And like I actually like Heisem a lot, but I think that makes the most sense. I think Jared's the other one. Like Jared's probably actually the answer. Heisem's the funnier answer, but I think it's probably Jared, right? And I'm fine with Jared now. Like Jared's fine, but I think that's probably it. The curb. The curb outside our Walmart. Are you talking about me dropping my wallet? Because the curb sounds harsh. Oh, you mean me? How dare you? It's when I turn into the Walmart, it's this very tight thing. We always roll over the curb. America talks so much shit for someone who's never driven a car in her life. Later tonight, America and I are role-playing Hero and Arch Nemesis. We have our Syndrome costume already. Why is this secret that you went to LA so Zach could help with your Survivor casting video? That's the theory? It's I'm getting cast for Survivor and Zach is going to edit the video for me. I like that. But it's not really a question. Thoughts on the Jimmy Butler heat drama? I think Jimmy Butler is being a baby, but that's always how he's been, and I appreciate what he did for the city of Miami and for the team. He single-handedly made the team irrelevant for years, gave us some iconic playoff moments. I love Jimmy Butler, but he's a baby, and he's throwing a tantrum, and that's what he does sometimes. And it's a credit to Spoelstra and Pat Riley that they were able to stave this off for so long. He does it every time. It's so funny. And it was so bad as we then left the Walmart, and I literally dropped my wallet in the parking lot and had an AirTag, so I knew it was there, and had to drive back in and roll over the curb again. Does this time on the Traders so far change your opinion of Boston Rob? There is nothing negative that anyone can do on the Traders that would change my opinion of anybody. If anyone on the traders does something very poorly, I don't give a shit. It means nothing to me. If someone does amazingly, I'm down to give them some credit. I think if you want to give Suri some credit for doing really well in the traders, or CT some credit, I think that's fine. Even Sandra. But I don't think it's fair to penalize someone for doing poorly in that fuck-ass format. So no. And Boston Rob has such a track record. Like, I know what Boston Rob is. And I do think Boston Rob is a criminally underrated Survivor player. At least for super fans. Like, when people say, like, oh my god, he's so up and down, like, okay, he played in Survivor Season 4. I don't give a shit about fucking Marquesas. It is what it is. All-Stars was awesome. Heroes, Villains, the circumstances of his voting out was insane. I think he has a good shot of not winning, but, you know, Tyson probably wins that season, but he gets pretty deep. Redemption Island, you know, it's a stomping out newbie season, but he did as well as he could. And then Winners at War, he had no chance. So, like, I don't blame him at all. I think he's a very underrated player, generally. And I do think, like, I tweeted about it, like, the discourse about, like, being anti-women. It's just patently untrue for Rob. If you want to say, like, he, like, internalized misogyny and talks over women, like, of course, yeah. Like, of course. But his MO has never been, like, let's get all the boys together and run the game. Like, that's just not a thing. The only one of them who did that was Derek, and I don't think Derek has really exhibited any signs of misogyny or whatever. I think his Mike Bloom tweet was stupid. But I think Derek gets... I was very uncomfortable with the shit people were talking about Derek. Like, I don't think he deserved it before the Mike Bloom stuff. If you want to clown him for the Mike Bloom stuff, that's clown-worthy. But before that, it's like, damn, Derek's just fucking boring. That's his biggest crime. He's boring and ruined a season because he was so good and boring. That's not a crime. There's so many better people to direct your ire towards. And look, if he said transphobic shit, that's new information. That changes a lot of things. But I personally have not seen that. He's a cop? Sure. That's fine. But I think I saw a lot of physical appearance stuff, and I thought it was just a little bit out of line. Are you secretly Gamer Vev? Is Gamer Vev a guy, a girl? Do we know? No, I'm not. If America were to go on the challenge, what would she do to prepare? That seems like a question for America. I can tell you the advice I'd give her. It would basically be learn how to swim and work out a ton. I think that'd be my advice. Guy. Okay. Huh, what a coincidence. It's also my life advice for America. Basically, it'd be the same. Like, if America just asked me for general advice, I'd be like, all that plus learn how to drive. So, you know. Did you get contact of the challenge? All right, breezing through these. Do you think you've gotten over your intimacy issue, or are you just comfortable with America? It's an interesting question. I don't know. I assume slightly, but I haven't tested it. So it is a weird question, but it's kind of an interesting one that I'm actually thinking about right now. Yeah, intimacy issue. Yeah, I talked about it on the feeds. You could find it somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, I feel in a much better spot intimacy-wise now than I do have ever. So, you know, overall, we got somewhere good. Would you rather live in Cali or Arkansas? Cali. I don't love California like that. I've only really spent a ton of time in LA. I spent some time in San Diego, a little bit in San Francisco, but, like, I think San Diego is my favorite place I've been to in Cali. Where's Stan at? Yeah. Are Matt and Riley going to get back together? Will they fuck? Well, that second part's disgusting and gross and fuck off. I would doubt they would get back together. I think too much of a Riley for that. How can the challenge change their formats? Their seasons are so long, and it makes it kind of unwatchable for me. Formats being the problem is interesting. I think you always have to have a game model that benefits the underdogs. For example, they had the kill cards, which was a very fun twist, where it'd be like someone's in elimination, someone wins. So whoever wins gets to send someone into elimination, or whoever gets whatever. There's someone who's automatically in elimination, and then everyone who's not safe flips a card, and whoever's out gets sent in. Whoever flips the wrong one, it's like 1 in 6 chance, 1 in 7 chance, 1 in 8 chance. And that's perfect. Because, for example, if there's a 6-person majority alliance and a 2-person minority group, it's much less likely that those 2 people are going to draw the kill card. Now, in future seasons, they made a double cross, which instead you flip over the things the same way, but if you got the one, then you got to pick who goes into elimination. And that's terrible because that benefits the majority. So the format should always incentivize or help out the underdog. That's one part of it. Second part of it, less episodes, obviously. Smaller casts, obviously. Less theatrical set pieces and more just like actual engaging stuff to watch. I actually am a believer that they should stop doing so many puzzles. I think the challenge should be more physical stuff, and I'm down for like pretty simple puzzles, but I don't like when it turns into a math puzzle off. I feel like that's the wrong show. And I think the main thing they should do is give them more alcohol and let the cast be a little bit looser. I think that's at its core what makes the challenge great. But I understand it's a different era and you can't exactly do it the same way you did in the past. But I think that's generally the big picture changes I would have for the show. I don't think it should be physical only, but I think that should be the focus. I agree, Josie, but I think it's tilted too much this way. Okay. Will you be having traders watch parties again with America? Yes, tune in tomorrow. What is your alt Twitter account? I see the blue dot at the bottom of your Twitter screen. It's America's. When America uses this computer. I don't want to show it because, I mean, I'll just check. I don't want to, like... Yeah, I mean, look. It's... So. No tea for you guys. Sorry. You guys think I need an alt? I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say on Twitter. I get myself into so much stupid shit. You think I would need an alt account? Imagine what that alt account would get up to. Is Dr. Will hot? Yeah. He's still hot too. Sorry. What do you want? Personality? Physically, I think he's hot. Personality-wise, he's Dr. Will. Come on. When's the last time you cried? I don't know. Might have been... I had like an LSAT situation where like... I had an LSAT situation where like I was having trouble with registration and I thought I fucked everything up and I was super stressed. I don't think I cried, but I might have shed a tear. I'm not sure. Thank you, DBZ. The LSAT reschedule. I was so stressed. Had to be a movie. I don't cry. Oh, it was when America and I rewatched the Lost finale. That's the one. Thank you, DBZ. Enjoy the piss hat. It's good to see you. Did Leah and Cedric ever hard launch? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like they were just casual or something. They were holding hands. I don't know if there's more lore there. I texted Cedric a while ago. He texted me. We went back and forth, but I haven't spoken to Leah. I've spoken to Leah one time since the show in Orlando. Why do you think Derek is so defensive about Zac Efron's brother? I mean, clearly they have a good relationship. They probably work together on the show. And I think he was trying to defend his friend / cast member. I just think he missed the mark and just didn't understand what he was reading, really. Cedric and Cameron supposed to stream together tonight? That's fun. Leah has said in live they're not official right now. Damn, they're dragging this out. Will you in America please apply to the Amazing Race? Y'all think we gotta apply? You don't think we just be asked? It's fucked up. But I don't think so. Address you in America being called for traitors. Categorically deny. Are you friends with any Republicans? No. I have family members who are Republicans, obviously, and I love them, but I don't think I have any friends who are Republicans that I could think of. I mean, like, I have some friends who are like, I don't care about voting, and I think they're stupid for that, but yeah, no. Don't you live in Tennessee? I don't have any friends, Jeremy. Who the fuck who are my friends? What was annoying about hosting Quinn? This is a great question. Annoying about hosting Quinn. Quinn does the same thing that I do, where he needs to be led. Like, I had to become the decision maker with Quinn, where I'm like, oh, let's go here. Because if I'm like, hey, do you want to try seafood? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you want to eat? He's like, anything. Like, he'll never give his opinion about what he wants to do because he's trying to be a polite guest. And that's usually what I do. America gets annoyed when I do that. So that was annoying. Thanks, Survivor Desi. How are you doing? 14 months. How are y'all been feeling? I'm just curious because lots been happening. I feel fine. I'm glad that I'm back streaming and back at the apartment and not traveling for a while. It's nice to be back in the saddle. I turn 21 soon. What should I expect? 21, so I don't know if you're in college or not. 21 is the same as 20, except, like, if you drink, that's a big difference. My recommendation, just because 21 is obviously the drinking age, is... What's good advice I can give for drinking? Here's what I'll say. Financially, it adds up if you're getting drinks at a restaurant. Keep that in mind. That adds up like crazy. Your meal is now twice as expensive. That's one part of it. Just be very, very careful because, like, drinking is one of those things where, like, it doesn't affect you. Then you're like, oh shit, I drank too much. I'm gone. Just take it slow. You'll learn your tolerance and everything. And the last thing is, like, y'all, like, I think everyone believes that they would never drink and drive, but then you get drunk and your judgment gets impaired, and that's what leads people to drink and drive. So you, like, be fucking careful. Don't do it. Sounds obvious? No one would drink and drive. But then you get drunk and you're like, I'm not that drunk. I could drive. Insane. Don't give yourself the possibility of drinking and driving, you know? Never drive your car to a bar or a restaurant that you're planning on maybe drinking, or a movie theater you're planning on drinking at. If you give yourself the opportunity, you're giving yourself the chance to make a stupid choice. Who you got winning the Traders as of now, and thoughts on Jeremy being murdered? I think Jeremy being murdered is just a bummer because he's so good on TV. I love Jeremy. I think Carolyn is the most common, like, answer as to who's gonna win. I don't know. I'm kind of here for what's her name from The Bachelor. I think she's gonna die. Unfortunately, just because, like, she's so clearly faithful. But I kind of like Gabby's edit. I wonder what the fuck they're doing with Brittany. That's kind of what I'm curious about. Would you recommend rock climbing as a hobby? I think it's a absolutely wonderful hobby. It's working out and fun. All these places also have, like, a gym attached to it, usually, like a normal gym. So it makes it very easy to go do 30 minutes on the elliptical after you're done climbing. Go back. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome hobby. It's a little bit expensive, but not much more expensive than most hobbies, you know? Favorite trip post BB? I enjoyed Toronto just because I've never been out of the country like that, and I had a lot of fun. It wasn't ideal circumstances. America was sick, and I was a little bit sick, but I liked seeing Canada. We already talked about this. Who would be your final two? Quinn, Cody, or Jag? Cody's an interesting one. I think I'd have an easier time beating Jag of the three of them. I think Jag would be my choice. I think Quinn would be very good in front of a jury. And Quinn's the kind of player where, like, if he gets to the end, he must have done something pretty crazy. Like, he must have done a lot of things really right. Whereas Jag could find his way to the end on a lot of seasons. Cody, I don't know what the fuck Cody. Cody's always going to be the alpha dog. At least post Derek. What's a red flag about you? I don't know. I think I shut down a little bit. Sometimes I just get so sapped of energy. Like, I don't want to self-diagnose myself, but it's like a narcolepsy thing. I feel like I just shut down sometimes. And it makes it very hard to, like, interact with me. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm checked out. Stubbornness, yeah, it's a fair one, too. You walk in front of me. America and I were fighting about this today. And we're going to fight immediately after stream about it, too. What non-CBS reality competition shows would you do? I mean, what? Oh, so non-CBS. Okay, it's okay. So I thought you were saying non-CBS and not reality competition. I'm like, that doesn't, there's none left. I would love to do the Genius, of course. I would do the challenge. I think I'd have a tough time maybe, but I would do it. I would do most things. There's very few things I wouldn't do just because it's fun at the end of the day. That's always what I come back to. Like, whether it's my favorite show or whatever, it's just fun. And, there's very little you can do that gives you the same kind of rush as doing these kinds of stakes. Worst cooks? I would be one of the worst cooks in America. Will you be streaming with Quinn soon? Yeah, I think we're going to play some Fall Guys was the plan. Which school waitlisted you? Nosy bitches, but I already did, I'm already gifting a sub for that. Who's your celebrity crush right now? This is a trap. Miranda Cosgrove. Did you get the call? Be honest. I don't know what you're talking about. Favorite cologne? I don't have a favorite cologne. America had a trying to get me cologne era and it flopped. So I actually do not have a cologne. I like America's Cloud perfume. Tell us a story behind the Nike shoes. That's another gifted sub. They're so annoying. Get a fucking life. How much are eggs in Tennessee? More than they were with Biden. I don't know. How much are eggs, babe? Like $2.60 a dozen? Am I in the ballpark? I feel like Ellen. Because like I do grocery shop and I pay, obviously, for all my groceries, but I don't kind of pay attention to how much each item is. I just... $8 at Whole Foods? Okay. Well, it's probably more likely America's number. I would say it's probably $5 to $6 where I go. $2.60 would be pretty crazy. Any new plans? Sorry. Any new plans for the Patreon? Well, we're uploading a lot of our New York trip footage because we missed the podcast last week because I was sick. So we're going to upload that in the next few days. We're doing the BB Can rewatch. We're doing the book club. There's something going on with America's Book Club that I'm excited about. I might get a little bit involved for a couple of the meetings, depending on the book America might choose. For real, we need to see movies, though. We watched Carry On. We did watch Carry On. Okay. Yeah, we got to get back on for real. We just haven't seen movies, but there's a lot we need to see. BB Can 10's been awesome. It's been one of my favorite things we've done on Patreon. But yeah, so podcast, rewatch, try to make for real a little bit more consistent, and we have all the New York trips planned, and there's obviously book club. I think I'm going to try to add something to the Patreon, because right now there's the podcast, which is me and America. There's the rewatch, which is me and America. There's the book club, which is just America. I think there should be a thing that's just me. Cory's Strategy Corner is obviously it's something, but I would like to find something. Maybe I can bring it back. I don't know. I got to figure out what my solo thing is going to be. What is your biggest insecurity? I have some weird ones. Like when I have dirty fingernails, I feel like that's gross. And it's not like I have it very often, but I get very don't look at my hands kind of thing. Very weird. I think I actually got that from karate. My karate instructor was very anal about that. What's the Patreon link? Patreon.com/Americory. Your retainer. Well, my retainer's gone, but America would try to do terrible things to my retainer, and I didn't like that. Do you ever road rage? I road bitch. Like, I don't rage. I like whine and complain, but I never honk. I will never honk at someone else. I'll be frustrated, like, in the car, but that'll never manifest in, like, me honking at someone or trying to run someone off the road. Favorite subscription you're signed up for at the moment? Currently, Gino's OnlyFans. But, favorite subscription? Maybe Sporkle. I don't use Sporkle that much, but I always forget how miserable Sporkle is without ads. So I think Sporkle. Also, StreamYard. StreamYard's awesome. It's how we make the podcast sometimes. It's how we make all the rewatches. And that's been a lifesaver. I pay, like, it's a good amount of money, but it just functions perfectly. How do you react to others honking at you? It ruins my day. Rank the following players from best to worst strategically. I would go Quinn's the worst, then America, then me, then Bailey, then Chelsea. I think it's hard to even debate much of that. I think that just kind of is what it is. Your Patreon subs would go up if you advertise the subs can be gifted. People may not know they can gift on Patreon. I didn't know that. But also, like, I don't know. With how we've been doing the pay, I feel like it's kind of scummy to be like, hey, guys, if you want to give us more money, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think we might just advertise it more by doing more lives and stuff. But, yeah. Low-key swap you in America, but I agree. Well, look, I hate when people bring up this debate because I feel like to lift myself up, I have to put America down. We were reading my Wikipedia page, and it was like, when America flipped the house on Izzy and positioned Cory as a big threat in front of her. I'm like, what the fuck is this reframing of history? America has as much of a role in the flip as anyone, but what the fuck is that shit? Can I edit it? What do you mean positioned me as a threat in front of her? She would have gone home the next week if Cameron won the veto. Or like if it was just me and America on the block. Like she would have gone. You can edit it. I'm not going to because that'd be pathetic, but I was like, that's crazy. It sounds like I wrote it. No, I don't think you would write it because I think you have a better sense of like your actual role in the thing. I was like, I'm so mad reading that. I'm like, what the fuck? Suppose you die tomorrow and your soul has to be trapped inside another living human. LeBron! You have no effect on their thoughts or actions, just a passive observer. Who would you choose? LeBron. If you had to choose someone from Big Brother, who would it be? Okay. I actually prefer, first of all, to not have control over LeBron's actions because there's no way I can make better choices than him. LeBron. Someone from Big Brother. Wait, so if I chose America, do I get to have sex with myself? Or am I dead? Cory's dead. Okay. I'm dead. Okay, so that I'll rule that out. Babe, what's her name from Big Brother 1? The rich makeup girl. But I guess if I'm just a passive observer, so I just actually get to see what they do. Yeah, like Jamie, but if I don't actually get to benefit from the wealth, I'm just like hanging out there, maybe that'd be less fun. I don't know. If I'm not Cory, just make me Jerry. Like I'm not trying to, do anything crazy. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? It's a very funny How I Met Your Mother bit. All-time favorite song? Insane question. Skater Boy. Probably. Welcome to the Black Parade's fun, but Skater Boy for sure. Yeah, I did see the Switch too. I'm going to get it immediately. Did you know the show Bloody Game, Game of Blood, it's similar to The Genius in Season 3, has Dongmin, Jinho, and Kyung-ran in it? I did not know that existed. I know there's Society Game, which has Junseok, and then Crime Scene, which has Dongmin and Jinho and Sangmin for like an episode. So I'm not familiar with this one, though. But I do love Dongmin, Jinho, and Kyung-ran. Big Brother Reddit is considering banning links to Twitter. Do you have an opinion on the matter? Yeah, why would they ban links to Twitter? That's so stupid. Like they're just overcooking a bit. I think Reddit's fine. I think Reddit is one of the best social media platforms out there. For Big Brother, at least, I think it is the best. There's its flaws, of course. There always is. But it's actually moderated, which is what makes it the best. Like, Twitter can't compare. Facebook can't compare. They have moderators who remove the crazy shit. What Korean reality show should I watch? You should just watch The Genius. It's the best. Avoid pushing traffic to X. For what purpose? Just because, like, it's Elon Musk? I don't know. I think it's like, I get the whole point of, like, everyone's got to band together or nothing's ever going to happen. Like, I get it, but, like, I think it's not going to happen. You watch Jetlag? I haven't. I know Taryn podcasts about it. Can you please play the Sprite Cranberry game, please? No, I can't. Well, I'll open it and I'll look at it after stream. And I'll determine if I'm going to play it the stream after. Absolutely not. I'm not playing this. I'm looking at it. It's going to be like a shitty, terribly made horror game. So there you go. No. When do you leave for the challenge 41? Answered it already. Did you think you'd be with America a year and a half later when you were in the house? Towards the end, yeah. I don't know. I thought we'd be together, so like I didn't put like an end date on it. I was hoping. You never know. I think it's gonna work out though. Who would you smush, Angelina or Snooki? Snooki, more followers. If you ever could get, would you have yes, say, answer no? How do I explain to my boyfriend that I watch Big Brother? He doesn't watch any TV, and I'm embarrassed to explain it to him. I don't think there's anything inherently embarrassing about the premise of Big Brother. The episodes are kind of embarrassing, but as a casual, he's not even going to understand how embarrassing it is because he doesn't know the feed. So I think you're fine. There's no shame in liking Big Brother. It's literally like on CBS at 8 p.m. Like it's not like my quirky little hobby that I don't want to tell people about. Like it's very basic. You're natural. I always enjoy your streams when you're not playing Roblox. LOL. I got bad news for you. No, I'm kidding. But thank you. I try to make my streams an easy listen. Yeah. Who do you think will be the next BB marriage? I could low-key see Tubina doing it pretty quickly. I mean, Rubina's like 36. Tucker's like 31. I don't know if they're interested in marriage at all. But I could see it being pretty quick. Matt and MJ, that's an interesting one too, because I assume they're the type to want to get married early. Claire and Derek, I think Claire and Derek is probably the safest answer, just in terms of they've been together for so long already, and I don't know if either of them are like averse to marriage, really. I have no idea. But I could see arguments for Tubina, Matt and MJ in them. Matt and Jag. I doubt that. Matt's not Sikh Punjabi. Bananas and Tyson on Amazing Race would be awesome to watch. Do you agree? It seems kind of like a random-ass pairing, but they're both pretty good TV, so I think it'd be fun. What's your opinion on fans shaming and running fellow Americories out of town in the Patreon comments or simply stating their opinions, trolls and haters excluded? There's several people who love you in America who don't feel welcome anymore. I would have to see the case-by-case basis. I think if you are spending a lot of time complaining about like the Patreon itself and me in America, that's not very productive, you know? But I don't know. I'm sure there's interpersonal fan drama. Here's the thing. If I see any fighting in the Patreon comments that's like unreasonable and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? It's just distracting from everyone trying to hang out. I'm just going to mute the entire thread. That's what I'm going to do. The way y'all should interact with the Patreon is like enjoy it for yourself and post comments if you'd like to hear from us or just talk about it. Like, it shouldn't be that deep. It should just be a fun, pleasant experience for everybody. And if it's impacting your life more than that, I think you either need to step away, not because it's necessarily your fault, but just because it's like, what's the point of this? Right? So, again, I don't know the specific situation. I really don't, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what this is referring to, but like I want everyone to feel welcome as long as they're being reasonable. How's Blue Sky? I'm skeeting every day. When we first contacted for the challenge, actually back in 2017, they saw my soccer highlights. What is an annoying America habit? Probably backseat driving. Which is like, it's like an annoying habit from everybody, but the fact that she can't drive is like, actually makes it a little bit funnier. Your number one dream pick for Survivor 50. Dream pick is interesting because you want to pick someone who's very unlikely to come back, right? Yeah, I mean, Rob Sesternino probably. The thing is, like, I think Rob playing would kind of break the game because everyone knows him and they would just let him get far enough because they wouldn't want to be the one who voted him out too early, but then they wouldn't let him win, obviously. So I feel like he would just be getting dragged somewhere. I'm trying to think if there's anyone who really jumps out to me. Honestly, I think for me, like, I would really like to see Christian play again. Just playing with him in Blood in the Clock Tower, he's such a dynamic personality and a ridiculous game player. Like, the way he plays is so unconventional and strange. And I just think he's the exact type of person who should play a second time. Like, he was in 7th. That's, like, the type of spot you should get, you know. What are your thoughts on fans that have ditched you for Quinn? I don't think that's a very large contingent. I think it's... It's about time people pin two men against each other, but I can't tell you I've thought a single thing about that. Can you tell us the 19 law schools you applied to? No, but it's a lot of top 20s. A lot of top 20s and then schools and cities. I actually am not opposed to saying the list, but it's like a lot of New York schools, Boston schools, Chicago, some San Francisco, a little bit of LA, one Atlanta, one Tennessee. You know, it's just the good schools in the cities with a couple, you know, more attainable schools to get into. Would you get into showmance if you could redo BB25? I mean, yes, assuming like I had, like, that's how I end up with America, right? So yeah, I'd still do things differently, but I think, you know, in a vacuum, was me getting into showmance good for my game? No, if that's the question. I just wanted to see if you landed this question when you say that. I just wanted to see if you landed this question when you say this is the last one. Okay, shut up. We're actually going to get through all of them. I'll zoom through. Who's a Twitter user you dislike but haven't blocked? Twitter user I dislike but haven't blocked is interesting. Let me open Twitter. Oh. Here's what I'll say. I really respect and like her as a person a tremendous amount. I think she's awesome. I look up to her. She's an icon. I don't think I like Danielle Reyes' Twitter account. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'm obviously never going to block or mute Danielle Reyes, though. It's Danielle Reyes. Like, come on. But... and it's not like she's done anything, like, bad enough for me to be like, oh, she sucks. Like, she seems great. Do you really not eat vegetables? I don't eat much vegetables. Not much at all. How's Law School Labs going? They're all right. Is America continuing America Tell All? That's an America question, but she's actually answered it. I think she's up in the air, trying to figure things out. If she were to do it again, she'd mix it up. First and only person I've subbed to, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's very kind. What food is America horrible at cooking, baking, and drinks? Y'all are lucky that I just found out an answer to this question. Because I have two. America, what do you think I'm going to say? Oh, it's a no? There you go, America. I have two. One of them, martinis. And I've never even had one. America says they're terrible. America says she's a very bad drink. The other one is, I've heard she makes the nastiest, gummiest gnocchi of all time. She's told me legends of the gnocchi. That was one time. It went so poorly, she refused to ever try again. You and Zach are the Hank and John Green of The Amazing Race. Of reality TV, rather. Who am I? I'm John, clearly. Lamau. Yeah. Freudian slip. You can only read the same question so many times. What law schools have you heard from? Not answering that question. Keeping it private. You have to marry or break up. What are you doing? That's a fucking brutal one. You have to marry or break up. What are you doing? I mean, I would marry. There's nothing that can't be undone. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I guess marry, right? What should you do if your partner doesn't want you to shave your head, but you want to? What would you say if America wanted to shave her head? Okay. If America said, I really want to shave my head, I want to go bald, are you okay with that? I think it would be one of those things where it'd be like, you can do whatever you want, and I'm not going to judge you for it. Like, I'm not going to hold it against you, but I do think you should somewhat care about your partner's opinions on these things. That picture you have of me, that is true. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, if America was like, I hate beards, and I grew out a beard, I think that'd be weird. I think there's a different implication maybe of a guy being like, hey, woman, don't do this thing. You know? So I get it's different, but, like, I think you should generally, like, care about what your partner thinks aesthetically. Have you watched Izzy play the flute in person? Never. I'd love to. What has been your most valuable life lesson? It's very deep. Most valuable life lesson. I don't know. Shit. Why y'all asking such big questions? I don't know. There's a lot of like social media stuff. Suri was like, Cory, what happens in the game is in the game, but the relationships last after. I'm like, well, that was bad advice. One of them did. I don't know. Probably use the block button instead of the mute button. Even if the block button now kind of sucks. What's your favorite HelloFresh meal to cook? We don't talk about HelloFresh anymore. Who are your picks for the rest of the NFL playoffs? I think it's gonna be Chiefs, Commanders, Chiefs. That's my guess. What have you learned about yourself in the past year? I have learned that I like the gym, which is kind of crazy. I have learned that I have the capacity to diet in a way that I didn't think I could before. I have learned that I'm really good at dealing with the cold. I don't mind the cold. I thought that would always be a problem for me. What's up with HelloFresh? It was just some like child labor things. We don't have to go into it. If you were in jury, would you have voted for America in BB25's final two over everyone else? Yes, I would have. I think I would have voted America over everyone else, and then after that, it would have been who do I think played the best game? Bill and Penny, along with their hundreds of X accounts they used to talk to himself, who found in a ditch. Yeah, like, I read them too much because they would just pop up somehow. And I am, like, starting to realize, like, it's very clearly the same people because they talk in the same way about the same stuff in the same way with the same phrases. Who will be your ride or die on the challenge? It's a good question. Probably Bailey and Anthony Smith from The Amazing Race. Block them? I do have them blocked. It's just Twitter doesn't work. Thoughts on BNA being renamed after Trump? Is that a thing? Look, here's the deal. BNA has a monopoly on Nashville airports. I'm not going to boycott and drive to Memphis, so it is what it is, but that would be lame. Who's your favorite mod? I think Katie's the most consistent. She's always around. And even though she made that problematic comment about Big Brother 23, I've given her a second chance. She's exhibited growth in the ability to change. Favorite soda? I think probably Dr. Pepper. I like orange soda too. It's quite a bit. Do you think it's weird that people record themselves crying and post it, or are people who hate it too judgmental? I think it is weird, and I think it's fine. It also depends on exactly, like, how you're recording it, but, like, I think it's weird, and people judging it is, like, just don't be that judgy. There's no reason for you to be that judgy. But I could judge internally. But if you're coming out and being like, this person's so weird, like, that's kind of weird. Did you go to LA for a law school interview in addition to visiting Zach? No law school interviews, no. Genuinely, like, I wish you guys could just see the trip. It was so beyond uneventful. Like I was kind of just sick the whole time, and he was working during the day, so we kind of, like, went to dinner a few times and watched Deal or No Deal Island and played Enter the Gungeon. The trip was more in theory than in practice. Like, it kind of flopped. It's suspicious, though. It's fine. You guys can be suspicious. It's fine. If you weren't on BB25, what would you be doing now? Law school. I'd probably be in law school already. Because I would have applied last year. Yeah, I'd be in law school. I'm in my second semester. What does Zach do again? He's a producer. Producer on a podcast. What do you miss living with? Who do you miss living with from the BB25 cast? I think just in general, like, is going to sound like a weird answer, but, like, Jag, Matt, and Blue, just in the sense of, like, the late night hangouts with, like, friends was a weird thing to be doing at this age. Like, it felt very campy. I don't mean, like, the slang camp. I mean, like, actual, like, camp. Obviously, in retrospect, like, whatever. There's a lot of problems there. But in the moment, it was very fun. You miss it? I miss some of them. Those last couple weeks, not as much, but kind of that middle period I enjoyed. Is it true that you lie a lot like America says? No. I think the thing is, like, I lie a lot in casting, and those lies are, like, just continue coming out. Like, but they're very consistent. They're always a lie. There you go. My greatest lie of all. Who's hotter, Jag or Jazz? It's a great question. Jag or Jazz? So Jag obviously won a lot of money, which helps. Jazz didn't betray me, which helps. I'd say Jag. He used the veto on me. It's a hard thing for Jazz to overcome. I've read a BB question. Are you not allowed to listen to the HOH winter music out of the HOH room? Why not? Yeah, why not? You have headphones? Yeah, you're not allowed to. I'm not sure why not, honestly. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just like, you know, that camera is often off in the HOH room when the HOH is just chilling up there. This being the last question, yeah. The audio from the headphone leaks sometimes. Okay. All right. Well, that's the Q&A. We got through every single question. America's killing me because I've been in here for too long. But I'm gonna go. Is Quinn still streaming? Can I raid him, or is he Dunzo? Is Cedric Cam streaming? What's happening here? We'll be live for traders tomorrow. And Cedric. I'll raid Quinn. Could someone ask Quinn if he's gonna be on for a while? Because if he's gonna get off soon, I won't raid him. He is, as in he's playing Fortnite after Quinn. Okay, I'll raid Quinn. I raided Cedric last time. So everyone get in. Every now and Quinn's raid settings do not allow you to raid him at this time. Quinn, what the fuck? Fix your fucking raid settings. Is it every now and Quinn? Is that the... He's not partner yet? You can't raid someone who's not... What? It's not... He doesn't have to be a partner to be raided, for sure. Cam it is. Yeah, I can't raid you, Quinn. Next time, though. I'll raid Cam. I've never raided Cam again. What's Cam's thing? Right, gift. I will gift right after the stream. You guys will see it if you guys stick in chat. Is it 3 M's? 3 subs? All right, I'm on it. Oh, Cam's disabled raids too. No one wants my help. All these... All right. What's Cedric? What's Cedric? Cedric wins by default. Officially said. All right. All right. See, Cedric's the only one who's got his shit together. All right, y'all.